Everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at NIO. Tesla is facing major competition in China, and here are the biggest rivals. And for me, it's BYD, NIO, Li Auto, XPeng, some of the most obvious ones you're aware of. But we really want to focus on NIO. Because at the end of the day, NIO is offering something that Tesla cannot offer. That's swappable battery technology, and you can still charge your NIO vehicles. One of the ingenious strategy that NIO is operating under is the fact that you don't have to buy your batteries. You can simply lease it, you can rent it and swap it between charge. Now this can heavily reduce the price of your vehicle. At the same time, applying the customer to a subscription, almost like a Tesla FSD style or a Netflix subscription, if you will. But it's ingenious. So let me get this right. You sell your cars for cheaper. You can definitely offer your cars for cheaper because you're not really selling the batteries, and you can lease the battery instead. Essentially let the customer borrow the battery on a loan. They are renting the battery and you can sign them up for a subscription already. This is ingenious. So if they're willing to pay $500 for the car, they can pay an extra $200 for the battery. So instead of accounting for the entire price of the battery, you just account for the price of the car and you offer them the battery at a reduced cost. This is truly ingenious. All at the same time, NIO owns the batteries. All at the same time. This is pretty good. NIO retains all rights. NIO retains the material. If the battery develops a fault or it defects, then NIO can simply improve that. NIO can simply take that battery back, study it, look at what went wrong, use the material for something else, recycle it efficiently. They could recycle this efficiently. It's really brilliant. So we know Tesla as one of the world's biggest automakers, especially as many would say that Tesla is the biggest electric vehicle maker, and many would say it's BYD. But at the same time, you've got NIO, who's actually applying a lot of pressure to brands like Tesla. And this is brilliant. NIO's taken a strategy that no one's taken. Like many automakers, Tesla is dealing with a slur of tough rivals in the world of largest auto market. As of 2023, there are about 123 automakers actively selling electric vehicles in China, many of which are fueled by generous subsidies from Beijing. In the domestic market, automakers are struggling through a price war led by BYD, Tesla rivals. Led by BYD apparently, but as far as I'm concerned, Tesla is the one who is actually going super aggressive on the price war. While this article is trying to make it seem like BYD is the one who sort of started the price war, it's not that exactly. You know why? Because whatever China builds, they're always willing to offer it cheaper than its competitors. And they've been doing this for decades. This is nothing new. However, we've never seen this strategy being taken on by a US company or a European company. In fact, American companies are usually more value driven. While Tesla's found a really impressive way to retain their value and still sell their cars for cheaper, this is ingenious by them because at the same time, they just want to get their cars through the door. Because of the incredible technology within these vehicles, Tesla can charge you for FSD in a future development, in a future release. They can charge you for other subscriptions along the line. So they'll make the money back eventually. Over the course of 10, 20 years of you or anyone else owning the vehicle, Tesla will regain the money, if not more. So for Tesla, selling the cars at an undervalued price is a no-brainer. In fact, it's exactly what they want to do. Whatever gets the cars out the door, that's their intentions, really. But it's nothing new to see a Chinese company offering vehicles or technology or products at a cheaper price. This has been done for decades. This is nothing new. The other thing that this article mentions as well, which is very interesting, there's 123 automakers actively selling electric vehicles in China, many of which are fueled by generous subsidies from Beijing. Now, there's this criticism against the Chinese businesses, Chinese electric brands, and Chinese governments that apparently the Chinese governments, they're providing too much funds to these electric brands. They're supporting their business too much. I don't understand the criticism. You're criticizing China for supporting their own businesses too much? What the hell? This is completely ridiculous. No one complains when an American company is supported by American companies and American loans and American institutions. No one complains. No one complains when a European company is supported by European backed loans or European investors or European companies or European brands or European subsidiaries. No one complains. But there seems to be this complaint and strategy against NIO that apparently it is wrong for their own Chinese government or their own Chinese investors to support the NIO business, to make the NIO brand bigger, to make BYD bigger and better. This is called competition, and apparently some people don't like it, but the Chinese are okay with competition. In fact, they've studied this for many years. They've realized this is how the world works. The Chinese have realized they have to support their own business. It's the only way forward. Why shouldn't they support their own business? That is completely backwards thinking. Let me get this right. You want the Chinese to allow Chinese companies to struggle and be unsuccessful, and you want the American and European brands to come into China and be successful? Is that what you're telling me? What kind of backwards thinking is that? Absolutely ridiculous. And the amazing thing is that Tesla is being welcome in China. Tesla is being welcome in China. They're not being turned away. Tesla is being welcomed with open arms. So why can't Europe and America welcome Chinese electric companies just the same? When your own company, Tesla, is being welcomed into China with open arms. Chinese are saying, come on, we want the competition. We love competition. Let's compete. Let's make this technology better. Let's go for zero emissions. Let's create a better environment for the future generation. That was the main point, is to create a better environment. Now the Chinese are supporting their brands so that they can accomplish net zero as early as possible. And you want to tell the Chinese not to do that? China, don't support your brand. China, don't try to go net zero as soon as possible. You're moving too fast. We can't compete with you. We can't stay up with you. Is that what you're telling the Chinese to do? When they've been struggling with emissions for decades, when some of their cities are literally filled with unhealthy air or unhealthy smog, you're telling them not support the electric car evolution that will make the environment better for them and their citizen? Is that what you're telling me? It's completely backwards thinking. Well, that's my little rant. That's my little rant. But I find it very interesting when these articles explain these things. It's completely backwards thinking. Honestly, competition is good for everyone. When the tides are in, all boats rise. But the thing that they don't like, why they're writing these articles and saying they don't like, is that the Chinese have too many boats. That's it. That's it. It's completely backwards thinking, in my opinion. Anyway, this article goes on to say they're also looking overseas and growing EV exports to countries across Europe, Asia, Oceania, and the Oceania, flooding those markets with cheap cars. What's wrong with that? As long as the cars is safe, as long as the cars can offer a benefit to your economy. So you don't want more efficient cars to be run in your economy? You don't want cleaner air? You don't want cheaper electric vehicles in your economy because it's going to benefit you? You rather sell petrol and diesel vehicle that will continue to create bad environment for your children and for yourself? So you would rather fail than to see a Chinese company be successful in your own country. You would rather live in dirty air than to see another Chinese company be successful in your environment and sell cheaper cars. If you can't offer them, guess what? Someone can. And that's not a bad thing. This is how the game works. The Chinese are playing fair, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong if there's nothing wrong with Chinese subsidiaries. There's nothing wrong with Beijing subsidiaries towards electric vehicles. There's nothing wrong with European subsidiaries or money or funds or loans to European companies. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with American companies or American brands or American investors or American institutions, loans, banks supporting American business. There's nothing wrong with that. That has been done for decades, but now it's suddenly wrong if the Chinese do it. Completely backwards thinking. I thought we were all trying to accomplish net zero, clean air. Now it's just turned into a lot of politics and a lot of backwards thinking. Oh, if you're doing it better than me, you shouldn't do it at all. You don't like the Chinese doing better than you? Beat them. 71 new battery electric models are expected to launch in China this year from domestic companies. Domestic companies meaning Chinese companies. That's incredible. And this is what they're afraid of. You don't want the Chinese to lead the electric revolution. Well, guess what? They are. and they've prepared for this for decades. Besides growing the sheer number of cars on the market, automakers are investing heavily in new technologies like driver assisted software and EVs, cars, batteries. And despite Elon Musk notching what appears to be a major win for Tesla operations in China last week, a deal with Beidou, many of Tesla rivals are far behind. Here are some of the biggest competitors giving Tesla a run for its money. So let me get this right. Recently, Tesla, Elon Musk, they've had one of the biggest operation deals, major wins in China. And Tesla is not a Chinese company. And the Chinese have allowed this. They've welcomed this. They want this. And somehow you're still mad. So it's okay that China supports Tesla, but you don't want to support Chinese companies. What the hell? This is the hypocrisy at 1000%. This is hypocrisy like you've never seen it before. Honestly, this is hypocrisy. So if you're wondering about what that major deal is, Tesla stock is soaring after Elon Musk came back from China with a big win on full self-driving. So the Chinese are embracing self-driving, even from Tesla. After Elon Musk made a surprise visit to China on Sunday, Tesla has reportedly overcome a major hurdle in its goal to introduce its driver assistant technology in the world's largest auto market. Chinese authorities on Sunday tentatively approved Austin, Texas-based Tesla plans to launch its full self-driving technology in the country. Tentatively? Tentatively. Is that the word you used? Tentatively. That's just ridiculous. They didn't tentatively or acted like they didn't want to approve this. They wanted this within their economy. In case you haven't noticed, the Chinese are trying to run their economy as efficiently as possible. While the rest of the world lags behind in efficiency, they're trying to be so efficient you can't even imagine. So they're embracing technology like FSD. So a lot of you are actually quite surprised at that, but you shouldn't be surprised. Why are you so surprised? And why do you say tentatively? There's nothing tentative about this. It's a straightforward business decision for the country of China. Strategically, it benefits them in every way possible. The rollout hinged on the newly signed agreement with Chinese technology giant Beidou and Tesla efforts to meet requirements for how it handles data security and privacy issues. This is brilliant. This sounds heavily professional. There's nothing wrong here. But I think often people are trying to make a problem out of nothing. So Tesla will deploy FSD using Beidou navigation and mapping service, building an existing partnership that's been on the books since 2020. Beidou is less than 24 qualified suppliers with Chinese top-level mapping credentials that are applicable to driver's assistant programs such as FSD. And the Tesla stock did jump quite a lot because I bought the dip. And I've been enjoying the fruits of that labor, as some would say. And there's Elon posting this picture in his response to the meeting that was held in China. This is great for the Chinese country. This is great for the Tesla company. You can both win. So why is it that Europe and America struggles to see this? I don't know. It's like I said, it's hypocrisy. So this is the recent dip. Tesla price was $142. And at the height recently, this is incredible, by the way. This is just towards the end of April last month, 194. This is just a few days ago, in fact. This was last week. So Tesla revenues by segment is extremely positive. Tesla production and delivery, again, extremely positive. Free cash flow was a little bit negative in the first quarter of this year, but I somehow think that's quite normal. We've seen this in early 2021 as well. But the money that Tesla has on pile will allow them to expand FSD in China with no limitations. That's what's incredible. Now looking at NIO on the other hand, this is one of the companies that they're afraid of. A company that is struggling in terms of EBITDA, the earnings before interest tax, the free cash flow is a struggle, the net income, the EPS is a struggle. But one thing that NIO does have is they have the funds to support their business. And what they're working on right now is simply infrastructure development. They're building out their infrastructure in the European region, and that is completely genius. Next up is America. But it's not so easy. But I think NIO's taking it one step at a time. They're quite stable with the money they have on hand, and they continue to expand in this area. And recently as well, it was $3.80 per share. I remember when NIO was this cheap. This was a long time ago. When I say a long time ago, I mean like 2020. 2020, that's when NIO was around these prices. So it is remarkable to see how NIO has struggled, but they've remained strong in many ways. In terms of Tesla revenue by segment, you got to understand this is broken down into automotive, energy, generation and storage, and service and others. The automotive sector being their largest profit. Energy generation is one of their second, and they're bringing in a lot of money. This is in US dollars, of course. They're bringing in, like, in terms of this year, Q1, it's 21.3 billion. Slow start to the year, but that's quite normal, you know? Tesla has recently passed 25 billion per quarter. This was last quarter in 2023, quarter four. They will surpass that this year. They will surpass that this year, probably looking at 30 billion in a single quarter this year. And in terms of deliveries, you can see that the most popular model is the Model 3 and Model Y. Those are the most popular models. Those are also the more affordable models as well, the ones that are being produced and the ones that are being sold, while the Model S and X and Cybertruck are on the lower scale. Cybertruck should ramp up a little bit more, especially in the US. It should deliver a lot more in the US, but there's no guarantee how people will feel about the appeal of that vehicle. Not everyone will like it. But this is where I want to end this video. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what I spoke about, because I did a little bit of ranting. I did a little bit of complaining. I really wanted to get into this information because I think it's heavily hypocritical, what I see quite often from a lot of companies. So it's a bit of a rant, but we're still going to be talking about BYD, NIO, even Xiaomi. We want to talk about Xiaomi as well. Of course, we want to talk about Xiaomi. NIO has a really interesting appeal to vehicle, and their design element is very specific. So we'll be talking about Li Automotive as well. I really like Li Auto. I won't lie. I really, really like Li Auto. There's Geely as well. Geely being the owner of Polestar, Volvo, Lotus. The list goes on. There's Xpeng as well. So when it comes to success, you got to understand that the Chinese companies, they're not slowing down. If anything, they're speeding up. They're finding more ways to be more efficient. And that is what's scary to some. Not me. I'm embracing this. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in our next video. Peace.